Is there any questions regarding the last class? Have anyone practiced? Any questions, anyone?
So can we do a quick revision?
Sorry.
Quick revision. Revision of last class, sir.
Sorry, you are not audible. Can you repeat again?
So I'm saying, can we do a quick revision?
Yeah. Okay. You want a revision? Okay. Yeah, fine. We can do it. So in last class, what we learned, so we saw how to create some geometries using a line by start point, end point, right? So what you're seeing here is just I have created two geometries, okay, two polygons. One is a square and another is a triangle. So in the last class, how we did this? First, we created some points, right? Using point by coordinates. So these are used to create some points, right? Then we gave some numbers for those coordinates, like for the x value, y value, etc., etc. Then we used a line by start point, end point, right? Which is line by start point, end point, of this one. So this node requires a start point and an end point, right? So we can just create point by coordinates. Okay, so we get the start point and we got the end point as well. So like this, we have created some polygons, right? So in today's video, like in the today's class, we are going to learn how to create some 3D models based upon the polygons or geometry that we have created. Okay, so let's start. Okay, it's recording. Fine. So to perform some certain common 3D modeling commands such as like move, rotate, mirror, the Dynamo requires geometry data types that are called vectors and planes as inputs. So first we'll cover what vectors and planes are and how they are constructed. Then we will apply them to Dynamo's translate, rotate and mirror nodes. Okay. So we could have used move command in AutoCAD or in Revit, right? So in Dynamo, the node that performs the move function is called translate. So I'll just open the node, just type here translate. As you can see, there are lots of translate options. So one is by just the direction, one is just by giving a direction and distance, and etc. etc. Okay, but we want to create something with the geometry and the direction. So this yes, I am going to use this node, which is geometry.translate. It has two inputs. One is the geometry and next is the direction. So we can delete these. Okay. So first let me tell you about what vectors are, okay? So vectors are most frequently used to specify the direction that tells the geometry how to rotate and what direction to face or what direction to go, okay? So as you can see here, I just created some points. I just created a list of all those points. So these list contains 4 points, which is the 4 lines of the square. And similarly, here you can see there are 3 points, and these 3 points represents this 3 triangle, right? And I just make this as a polygon, okay? And I just created a list of these 2 polygons. So here you can see a list of 2 polygons. So first is the square polygon and the second is the triangle polygon. Fine. So now we can just translate these geometries. So first it requires a geometry. So connect this list to the geometry here. Next is the direction. Okay. So as I said, in order to specify the direction, you have to use vectors. So search for vectors by coordinates. And you can see it has 3 coordinates x, y and z, and it has some default value of 0. Okay. So for an example, I'm just creating some numbers. So x3 and y5 and z20. Okay, you can also use the code block node, or else you can just use the number node what we saw earlier. Okay, so but using code block will be much easier. I'm not insisting you to try code block, but once you get practice, like once you get to know about all the nodes, try to use code block. It will save some time. Okay, so yeah, so we have defined some vectors. Okay, 3, 5 and 20, and now we are going to translate these geometry to these vectors. But you can see here in the background, when we introduce this point by coordinates node, the Dynamo just creates a point, right? In the x, y, z, 0, 0, 0, it just creates a point. But Dynamo doesn't have a geometry preview for the vectors. So I prefer to visualize the vector by using a node called start point, endpoint direction length. So just search for line by start point direction length. Okay, so for the start point we can use the default point origin. So the default origin is 0, 0, 0. So Dynamo has a node to specify the point origin. Just search point.origin. Okay, so this node you can see get the origin point 0, 0, 0. Okay, so we can use this, okay, as the start point, and the direction towards this vector, and the vector length. Okay, so it has some default vector, like a length value for these vectors. So we have to extract those length values. So for that, you can use vector.length to extract the default length value. So the input is a vector, so connect to the vector here, and now we can connect the length to the length. So if you looked at our background 3D preview, we can see that the Dynamo has now drawn a line starting at the origin, which is 0, 0, 0, and pointing at the direction of the vector that we have defined. Remember, the vector was created isn't a line, simply a direction which shows that the origin and ends at the point which we have created, which is 3, 5, 20. Okay, so to really understand, let's plug in our new vector into the direction input of the translate node. So vector to the direction node. Okay, so what happened? The square just moved to the new location based on the direction that we have defined with the vector. Now the translate node doesn't erase the original geometry, it just creates a copy, right? So this is how the move option works in Dynamo. It will not just move the original geometry, it will just create a copy of it. So if you don't want to see the previous one, you can just hide it. So these are the nodes which are previewing the previous one. So if you don't want to preview this, you can just right click and uncheck it. Okay, so now you can see the preview is off. Okay, so now let's do some functions like the rotate, mirror, etc, etc. So first let me arrange this so that you will not get confused. So first is the point origin, next is the vector length, then the direction. Okay, here is the geometry.translate. Okay, so in order to perform the rotate, you have some default node that is called geometry.rotate. So there are two rotate nodes, which is one is from the origin axis and degree, and another one is the base plane and the degree. So here we are going to use origin axis and the degree. Okay, so it requires four inputs: geometry, origin, axis, and degree. Okay, so which geometry we want to rotate? We want to rotate these two geometry, right? So connect this to this. Okay, and we want the origin point. So we have already created node to extract the point origin, right? So we can use the same node. We no need to create another one. As I said, our program should be concise, okay, so that we don't need to repeat the same process again and again. Next is the axis. So in which axis it has to take as a center point to rotate. So let's say that I want to rotate these two nodes with z as an axis. So just search for vector dot z axis and connect here. And you want a degree, right? So we can use a number slider to provide the degree, as we have shown in the previous class. Not the number slider. Let's say that we want to rotate it to the maximum of 360 degree, and the minimum is, we can say, negative 360 with a step value of, let's say, 1. Okay, now connect this to the degree here. So as soon as I connect this, you can see it just creates a copy of it, right? So now we can rotate this with this number slider which we have created here. So as you can see, it is now rotating with z as an axis. So that is the reason we have introduced this vector dot z axis. We got the geometry, we gave the origin point, we gave in which axis it has to rotate, and we are just given a degree of the rotation. So you can just give rotate as much you want, and if you don't want to rotate on the z axis, and let's say that you want to rotate from x or y, we have just search for vector dot x axis. You get the x axis. Similarly, you have the y as well. So you can use those nodes to perform the rotation. Okay, so first let me group this. So these nodes are used to create a rotate option. Okay. These are used to create a geometry vector. Okay, so as of now, this both the polygons are rotating as a single axis, right? So let's say that you want to rotate these polygons from their own center axis. Okay, so for that, first you have to extract the center point of these polygons. So search for polygon dot center. So what it says, returns average point of corners of the polygons, right? So you can use this node and connect this translate to this polygon dot center. So as soon as I connect this, you can see these two polygons has now a center point. The reason is we have extracted the center point of these two geometries. I'll show again. Just uncheck this, and when I connect this, you can able to see there will be two center points coming. Yeah, like this. Okay, so now if you want to rotate, we can rotate from this center point. So instead of giving this as an origin, you can give this point as an origin. And the axis is z axis here. That node is missing. Okay. Vector dot z axis. Okay, so now you can see these two polygons are rotating from their own center point, right? So we can also do like this. Okay, so as of now I'm just keeping like this, and I'm just turning off the translate geometry. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the rotated polygon of the square and triangle. Okay, so now let's see how to do the mirror option. It is somewhat similar to the rotate. So just search for geometry dot mirror. So this also requires a geometry and a mirror plane. Okay, so what is the geometry? So these are our geometry, right? And it requires a mirror plane. So what does the mirror plane, like, you have to mention in which plane it has to take the mirror. If you want to take mirror from the z axis or the x axis or the y axis, not the axis, y plane. Okay, so to extract the plane, we can use a node called plane by origin normal. Okay, and the origin is, we have the point origin. You can use the same node. Next is the normal. So here I'm just connecting this vector dot coordinates. Now we can connect this plane to the mirror plane here. So as soon as I connect this, you can see it has created a plane here, right? But you may be wondering, it is not parallel to the x plane or y plane or the z plane. Instead, it was somewhat slanting, right? The reason is that here we have given this mirror plane, right? So I have used this plane by origin normal. So it requires the origin and a normal point. So when I cut this, so now what you're seeing here in the background is just a plane in the x-axis, right? Now the x-axis just creates a plane in the x-plane. So these are x-plane. Okay. So what I did is, if you want to rotate just with the x-plane means, you can just give a normal value of the x and you can just do it. But in this case, I want to rotate from the vector point, okay, which we have assigned, which is the 3, 5, 20. So that is the reason I just connected this normal to the vector dot coordinates which we have created. So as soon as I connect this, we can see this plane is now a little bit slanting. It's not in the x plane directly, right? It is slightly angled. The plane forms a 90-degree angle from all the vectors of the side. Okay, so this is the definition of a normal. Its direction that is perpendicular to all the three direction to the point on the surface of the plane that we have created. So now we can create some mirror option to whatever the plane you want. So because what I am showing this is, you can just mirror using the default plane x, y, and z. But let's say that you want to create a mirror with some particular plane, with some particular coordinates, means you can able to do that perform as well with the help of this one. So that is the reason I'm just showing this option. Just a minute. Okay, let's continue. I just get a call. Okay, so is this clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we just created some some polygons. We just did some rotate function and translate function. So now let's see how to create some surfaces and solids using these. So as of now, I'm just hiding this mirror option. Okay. So we can create a group of these. So these are used to, okay. Okay, so let's begin with the simple method. So here what you are seeing here is the group of two polygons, which is the bottom polygon, the square, and the triangle, right? So let's say that we want to create a surface. So for that, we can use surface by patch. It just has only one input. So just connect this list to here. And in the background, we can see it just created a surface based upon the lines that are in these polygons, right? Just created a surface based upon these four lines and three lines, right? Okay, so this is just to perform the surface option. So to create a surface, so I don't want this. I'm just turning off the preview. Okay, so now let's say that we want to extrude it. Okay, instead of getting a surface, we are going to extrude it. So just search for curve.extrude, and you can see a lot of extrude like distance, direction plus distance, extrude as a solid, etc, etc. Okay, so I'm just using this curve.extrude, and it requires a curve and a direction. So we have the curve. So these are the curves which contains the two polygons. As you can see, when I connect this, it just creates an extrude, but we haven't given any directions, right? The reason is that it has some default value. You can see vector default value, vector by coordinates 0, 0, 1, which means 0 in x, 0 in y, and 1 in z. So that is the reason it just created extrude with the default value of 1. So now let's say that I want to extrude to this vector coordinates which we have created. So connect this to the vector by coordinates which we have created, and you can see now we can see there are two things we have extruded. But what you're seeing here is just it's hollow, right? It's not a solid. We cannot say it's a solid, it's hollow. So let's say that if you want to extrude as a solid means, we have a node for that. I'm just turning off this one. Okay, so to extrude as a solid, you can use this. Okay, so it is somewhat similar. Just connect the curve and give the distance here. So what you're seeing here now is just a solid, not just a hollow, right? So these are the two options to extrude, like if you want to create a surface or you want to create a solid like this. So okay, these two are for creating an extrusion. I'm just creating these groups for your understanding only, so that when you practice, you will not get confused about all these nodes. So I'll just turn off this also for now. So now we can just turn on this one. We just turned off the preview, right? So now it's a good time to turn on. Okay, so now let's try to create a solid that connects the bottom and the top square polygons using a loft node. So you could have used this loft options in the Revit family, right? So loft is to create a extrusion with the bottom and the top surface, right? So let's try that with these. Just search for solid.loft or solid by loft. Yeah, we have solid by loft. Okay, so we need a cross section. So we can connect this to the curve. Okay, so it just creates some error here. So when you get this yellow color means it's just a warning. Okay, so let's see what's the problem here. Okay, so the problem here is that this list contains the bottom two polygons, this square and this triangle. But to perform this loft function, you all know we need a bottom surface and a top surface. So that is the problem. When I try to connect this to this function is not working because it has both the bottom two polygons, right? We want one bottom square and one top square, one bottom triangle and one top triangle. Instead, it has the list of two bottom square and bottom triangle, and we cannot create a loft with these two, right? So what we can do? So first let me create a list. Okay, so we have rotation geometry here. It has two polygons, one top square and one top triangle. Okay, so now we need to create a list of these two items. So list dot create. So create list. So my first list should be the bottom square, which is this polygon. So this is the bottom square. And the second item should be the top square, which is inside this geometry.vertex. But you can see we have this two options, two polygons here. So we have to extract one polygon from here. So for that, we can use the node called list.firstItem, which we have covered in the last class with the help of some Excel sheet, right? We just saw how to extract the first item from a list and extract the rest of the item, or extract the last item, or extract a particular item at a particular index. Let's say that if you want an item from the index 0 means you can just give a list of inputs and you can just specify the index point so that we can extract the data exactly from those index value. So here, this is my list. And I got the first item. So here the first item is triangle, but we want square, right? So we can use list dot last item. Okay, we got. Okay, so this is the square. Okay, yeah, this is correct. This is first item is the square. You can see this is highlighting, and okay. So now we have going to create a list of two square and the top square. So this is the list create node. it has the bottom square, and here we got the top square. So connect this to this. Okay, so now we can input this to the solid by loft. As you can see, when I connect this list to here, it just created a solid by loft using the bottom geometry and the top geometry, and the result is a twisted solid, right? Okay, but let's say that we want to create two solids instead of just this one. Here we have another one geometry, right? Another one polygon. We want to extrude this as well. Okay, so first we have to create some list here. Actually, there are two options. One is we can continue the same process which we did here. We can just copy paste the cluster of nodes. In this case, we are going to work on two solids, so that is definitely feasible. But what if instead we are trying to produce two solids, we need to produce 100 solids. We will be copy pasting the same set of nodes over and over until we get to 100, right? But in visual programming, that is a red flag. You find yourself copy pasting the same set of nodes, that is an indication that there is more efficient way to accomplish what you are trying to do. So which brings us to another option. So if we want to create two solids with one node, we can structure a data list like by two lists containing the two cross-section curves that we need to produce. So let's do that. So let's think about the best way to construct these two lists is one containing the bottom and the top square, and the other containing the bottom and the top triangle. Okay, so here we have the list of bottom square and the top square. Next, we are going to create a list of bottom triangle and the top triangle. Okay, so we can create list dot create to list. So I'm just giving this as input here, and this rotate as an input here. Okay, so now we have created a list of 4 polygons which contains the bottom 2 and the top 2. Okay, but we really need to arrange our data. We are going to loft the first polygon in like the first polygon each list, which would be the bottom square and the top square. Similarly, bottom triangle and the top triangle, right? But what is seen here is that the list one contains bottom square, bottom triangle, top square, top triangle. So we cannot perform the loft function with the help of this node, right? So we are going to rearrange this. So for that, we are going to use a node that we saw already, that is called transpose. I hope you remember this transpose node. Does anyone remember why we use this transpose? Okay, let me tell you. So this transpose node we used in the Excel data to transpose the rows and columns, right? So now I connect this transpose to the list create here, and what you're seeing here, we just transpose the columns, like the rows and columns here. So it just extracted the item at index 0 from both the list and the item at index 1 in both the list. So what you're seeing here is the bottom square, top square, bottom triangle, top triangle. Okay, so now we can perform solid by loft. There we go. So two lofted solids. So again, imagine instead of starting with two curves like in this example, if we started with 100 curves that we need to loft, with just a little bit of list management, we could create 100 of solid just as easily as we have created two. So now you know some of the common techniques for constructing surfaces and solids from curves, particularly surface by patch, by extrusion, and now surface by loft. Is this clear for everyone? Guys, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these were for solid by loft. Okay, so now we know how to create a 3D solids, right? So next we can see how to modify those solids. So I'm just going to turn off those geometric view of the polygons. We are not going to need for this example. Okay, so let's begin with two functions that are used to modify the edges of the solids. Those are called fillets and chamfer, which you have already might know, right? So actually we don't want this one here. Okay. So first modification tool that I'm going to use is solid.fillet. So it requires a solid and the edge and the radius. So we have the solid, okay, and the edges. So to extract the edges of a solid, we have a node called topology.edges. You can see the edges of the topology. Okay, so when you introduce this node, it just extracts the edges of the solid. Okay, next you want to give a radius. So let's say I'm just using a number node to give a radius. Let's say I'm just giving a radius of 1 and connect this to this. Okay, we are getting an error. Let's see what's the problem here. Solid edges and okay, so we haven't assigned that what the topology is, right? So this is the topology. Okay, so now we can give the radius. Just giving 1. So as you can see, the edges is now a little bit filleted, right? Edges are not sharp because I just given a radius of 1. If I change the radius to 2, the fillet may even change. So note that the fillet node didn't flow upstream to modify the geometry, right? It just creates a modified copy of a geometry. So that's why I just turned off this node. You can see here. See, it actually doesn't modify ours. It just creates a copy of it. Okay. Similarly, you can also use the solid.chamfer. So first let me group this one. So we can hide this. Next is solid.chamfer. It is somewhat similar to the fillet. First the solid, next the edges, next the offset. We can give the offset value 1 itself. Let's see how it is. See, now the corners are filleted, right? So these are sharp. We can also change the radius. It's for an example, if we give 2, it will be even filleted. See, actually we cannot perform with the 2 radius for the second polygon, this is for the second solid, right? So that is why we are getting an error here. Use 1 itself. because it's a very small solid. Okay, so now let's say that we need both of the solids to intersect. Okay, so for that, first let me put this solid. Okay, we can hide this as well. Because the dynamo works like this, it doesn't modify the exact geometry, it will just creates a copy of whatever we are doing. So if you don't want to see the previous one, you have to just hide everything, etc. So that is the reason you can see I have just hidden many things like this. Just a minute. Okay, so as I said, let's say that if you want to intersect these two solids, okay, so first to intersect these two solids you have to move either one solid, right? So first we can see how to intersect solids, either to use one solid as a void and cuts the volume of other solids, or sometimes we combine them into a single solid. So for that you can use geometry dot translate, which we saw earlier, using the x, y and z. Okay, so first let's say that you want to move the triangular solid towards the square solid. Okay, so first we want the geometry of the triangular solid which we want to move. So for that, here we have the list of these two let's say these solids. So first item, extract the first item, the last item. List dot first item, list dot last item. So connect this to the solid and connect this to the solid. Okay, so now we have extracted those two solids, right? The first solid and the second solid. Okay, now let's say that you want to move the second solid towards the first solid. So this is my geometry, and we want to give a value in the x because we are going to move this in the x-axis, which is the red line here. So I'm just hiding this one, and let's say I'm just using a number slider. So now connect this to the x, and as you can see, when I connect this, it just moves a little because this is the 0 point for this one. So we have to move in negative. So as you can see, when I move the slider, it is moving in this x-axis because I just give the x translation. If I give y translation, it will just move on the y-axis. If I give z translation, it will just move on the z, like this. You can see it is moving the y. If you want to move this in the z, you can use like this. But in this case, I want to move with x. So I'm just moving here. Okay, so now these are intersecting with each other somewhat. Let's say negative 22, or maybe let it be 20. Okay, so now we can see these two solids are intersecting with each other. So now we can use this as a void to cut the volume of other solid, or we can combine these two into a single solid. Okay, so for that, let's first make a let's say you can use solid.difference. So here, this is my solid, and okay, actually this is not the solid. So my solid here is that the first item. Okay, and the other solid is the translated one. So connect this. So I'm just turning off the preview of this one and the turning off the preview of this one. And we have only one solid. So what you're seeing here is that it just cuts the void from the other solid, which means we just what we did is we just move the triangular solid towards the square solid. We just make an intersection of these two solids. We then cut the triangular solid from the square solid. You can see it just creates a void here. Right? So for that we use the node called solid.difference. So now we have a single solid of this one. Okay, next we can use a union. So we can connect this solid here. Okay, so now what you're seeing here is just a union of these two intersecting solids. So previously we just subtracts the this triangular 3D from the square, and we created a single solid. But now what you're seeing here is a union of these two 3D. So these are the two options: solid.difference to create a difference, and solid.union to unite two solids. So let's make a group of these items. Okay, so in today's class, we saw how to create some vectors, how to rotate, how to mirror the geometry, and how to create some surface, how to do the extrusion, both the hollow extrusion and the 3D extrusion as a solid. Then last we saw how to create a solid by loft with both the geometry. We just did a little bit of list management to create a solid by loft with the list containing two items, right? And we just modified the solids using the solid.fillet, solid.chamfer, and solid.union and solid.difference. Is this clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so are you getting, or do you have any confusions or doubts regarding, or do you feel it is not understanding?
Yes, it's a slight complex task for us right now.
Yeah, that's fine, because it will be for the first time learners, it will be like this, but that's not a problem at all. You can just watch the videos, you can try for a couple of times, then you will get familiar with it. Okay, so first time
Sir,
it's normal.
sir, I have a question.
Mhm.
Sir, is it possible to work on Dynamo without knowing basics of programming?
Without.
Knowing basics of programming?
Okay, so without the basics of programming, see, in Dynamo, you can work like two options, like we're working with the Dynamo. One is by creating the nodes. With the help of nodes, what you're seeing here, these are called nodes, right? So with the help of these nodes, you can just create a visual program like this, what you're seeing here. And the second option is you can just do everything with a line of codes, with the help of a programming language that is called Python. Okay, so you have only two options. One is by creating a visual script like with the help of Node, or else to create a program with the help of Python. If you want to type a Python, you can just use python.script. This is the node. Just right click, go to edit, and this is the page where we can do whatever you're doing with the help of Node. We can just create with the help of codes. Okay, so only these are the two options.
Which one is easier?
Easier, that depends on the work. Like, let's say if you are working with a very complex geometry that needs to be done, in some cases you cannot even do some options easily with the help of nodes. So in that cases you will use Python. So here you can just, for an example, you can just delete all these things, default things, and you can just type whatever you want, like what, say if you want to create a line by start point, end point, or point by coordinates, you can just do all the thing, point by coordinates, extra. Basically you can do the Python scripting. If you know the basics of Python, you can do everything here.
Okay, sir. Sir, excuse me.
Yes.
Sir, I have a question from Revit. Can I ask it?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, what are shared local and global parameters?
Okay, so let me explain that. Okay, so what is the use of project parameters? What is the difference between project and the shared parameters?
Yes, sir.
Anyone? Can you say the difference between project and the shared parameter? Anyone?
No, sir. We don't know it.
No. Was the topic covered?
No, sir.
Wasn't it covered? Are you sure?
Mm, Yes, sir. I can't really remember it.
Okay, so does anyone remember what is the difference between project parameter and the shared parameter? Anyone?
No, sir.
I guess we can share parameters, but we can't share the project parameters, I guess.
Okay, so what can we do with those?
Um, no idea. So sorry.
Okay, so no one? Okay, so let me explain. So project parameters are parameters that are used in the project only. So what the parameters what you're seeing here, these are all project parameters. Okay, and the shared parameter means a parameter that can be created and that can be used in multiple families and projects, as you can see here. Okay, so for an example, if you're just creating a tag for an object, okay, and you want to add a specific data in that tag, and those data is not available, but it is available in a parameter of a family. Okay, so how can you extract the parameter of the family to the tag in your project? So in that cases, we will be creating shared parameters. So a shared parameter can be shared between the project and the families. Okay, so we can use the shared parameter to, like, if you are creating a schedule, or if you're creating some tags or any reports, etc., that can be done. Okay, but the global parameter, as you can see, specifies parameter that can be added to a project and used to define values to other project. Can be used to report or drive the value of one parameter to another. You cannot access them in element properties or use them in schedules. Okay, you cannot access them in element properties or using schedules. Let's say that let's say I'm just giving item number. Okay, so what you're seeing here is that they consist of a simple values derived from formulas or values taken from the models using other parameters. Okay, so that is the use of global parameters. You can just give a value, you can use the formula, you can also use the other parameters as well. So that's the difference, not much from the project parameters and the global parameters, shared parameter. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, sir, got it.
Like you can do one thing, you can practice it. Okay, so that is the only thing you will able to know. So if you aren't clear first with the project and the shared parameter, just try to open a family which you are working. Okay, and let's say that it may be a door family or a window family. Okay, so let's say that you want to use the information from the family's parameter in your project. So first you have to create a shared parameter, and then you have to come to the project here, go to manage project parameters, here click add and use shared parameters, click select and select the shared parameters which you have created. Okay, so for example you can see FCU flow model number. I think it was previously created by me, I'm not sure. Okay, so model number or FC flow, okay, whatever it is, just use it and grouped under your whatever the category you want. I'm just giving constraints, and this model number, let's say that I want this model number to be for which elements. Let's say I'm using a mechanical equipment, so that these model number will be suitable only for the mechanical equipment. So when I select a mechanical equipment category of elements, I can able to see this model number parameter which I have created. So click OK, click OK. So now let's try to introduce a mechanical equipment. I think there's no mechanical equipment here. Let's say okay, I'm just introducing this one. So I just introduce a new FCU. So when I click this FCU, here we can see the shared parameter which we have created, model number, right? So now we can use the data here, and when you go inside a family also, you can able to create a parameter here. Let's say you just want to create a parameter, something like whatever it is. Okay, if you, I'm just giving like this, give shared parameter, select model number under constraint, apply and OK. So when I click this, we can edit the option of model number here. Okay, and we can use the same data in our project as well. So once you get practiced, only you will get an idea about, like when you're listening a class, you'll just feel like, okay, this is much only. But when you try on your own, you will get a lot of questions and all these things. Okay, so just practice it. Only then you will get clear of it. Okay.
Sir, what according to you is the best way to become proficient in Revit?
Best way to.
To become proficient in Revit, sir. I want to practice in Revit, so what's the best way to do it?
The
Um,
best the
sir,
best way to practice is to practice only. So how can I say how to practice?
I don't have any projects or something, uh, so do I have to practice? How to practice it?
Okay, so if you don't have any project, you can just create a project on your own. Just take an imaginary project. You can take a house, or just take any imaginary project. You can just take a Burj Khalifa or something else. Just do it. There are lots of reference available from the website Google, and you can just create a. If you want to practice, just create an imaginary project with a 5-story building or whatever it is. You can just practice. Try to add what are the things that you visualize, etc, etc. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, keep practicing. At least just spend 30 minutes a day. in Revit, okay? Because you all paid money, right? So make use of it. So is there any questions, anyone?
So,
Yeah,
will you please upload the Friday session?
that wasn't uploaded.
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, so Sandeep is responsible for it. Okay, I'll let him know. Okay, I thought that
Okay.
was uploaded. If it wasn't uploaded, you can contact Sandeep. Okay, just text him and he'll upload it.
Okay, sir.
I'll let
Thank you.
I'll remind him. Okay. Okay, guys. So just practice it, and let's meet tomorrow. So this is Pragdish signing off until we meet again next time. Thank you.